Hello, everybody, and welcome to Graded Point Live. Tonight we have a special guest. We've been advertising for a day. I don't know. I forgot.
At least a day.
At least a day. At least a day. I did mention it last night, so hopefully people tune in. Uh, we have Mr. Micah Curtis. Why did I say you could do soundboard? Uh, Tonight we have Mr. Micah Curtis, current creator of the Englewood Indiegogo campaign, and got it on the screen right now. You're heading in the right direction, which is excellent. And yeah, I am not good at these intros. How are you doing tonight, Micah?
It's been a day, but I'm doing all right.
That's good.
But I'm realizing it's like this needs to be a night where I get more than 4 hours of sleep.
Oh yeah.
Good
yeah.
Lord, that cannot last.
I hear you.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about Englewood for a bit here. Because I remember when you decided you were going to do this. Let's talk about that. Talk about where the idea for Englewood came from, and when you decided, you know what, let's do it.
Well, that's kind of two different questions. So let me kind of separate them out.
That's
so
fine. That's fine.
yeah, Englewood, like any other comic that you'll probably see me put out in the next couple of years, which it's looking like this one's gonna hit goal and probably go a little bit beyond that, which will be awesome. But it was kind of inspired. For those who don't know, I'm originally from the Chicago area. That's what Englewood is. Englewood with an E is Chicago district. Englewood with an I is in California. But you don't want to go to either of them. Just trust me. But Englewood kind of came about because, growing up in the Chicago area for like my first 10, 11, almost 12 years of life, even as a kid, you would hear about Englewood, and it's just like, don't go there because it's the roughest part of town. And then as I got older, I moved, around the state, kind of finally settled in one of the bigger cities here in central Illinois. And one thing that I had realized is that, a lot of people that I was working with when I first started to conceptualize this story, I was working at a hotel. Oddly enough, around this time, I started my YouTube channel. And when I was there, I worked with a bunch of people who were from that neighborhood who moved down south to get away from basically all the murder and all the other nasty shit that was going on down there. So what ends up happening is I remember one day, it was one girl, her and I are talking. I work third shift security, basically being a bouncer for better or worse. Mm-hmm. And as I am, making sure that I'm not getting a black eye from the punch I took the night, during that night. Her and I were talking as I'm putting my suit jacket away in the closet, and she's saying basically that she's got to go back up to Chicago because she's got another funeral to attend. That was number 5 in the course of like a month and a half, 2 months. It was bad.
God.
Yeah, Englewood, Chicago has become the murder capital of the world, which in and of itself, being from there originally disgusts me. But even more so, just the simple fact that people I care about and I've got to know have come from that, and they would tell me all these stories. And more than anything, I'm just happy that they're not there anymore. But I just started thinking about it. It's like, why does nothing happen? Because I won't go into deep political stuff, but one thing that I have seen is that Rahm Emanuel, as his time as mayor, did not help anything. And then the current mayor is going to do even less. I have no doubt of that. So Chicago's kind of screwed in that regard. But I just thought to myself, it's like, what would it take to break this cycle? What would it take for somebody to just stop this? And so that came into the comic itself, which was, I think I scripted this first issue. I want to say I did the outline about a year ago, and then I scripted the first issue sometime shortly after that. And I just thought to myself, it's like, is there really a street level kind of character like a Daredevil or a Batman or an Iron Fist or Richard Dragon or whatever based in Chicago? I thought about it. my brain came to the Savage Dragon, and I remembered, hey, nobody cares about the Savage Dragon, so let's move on. And then after that, I'm like, yeah, I can't think of one. So I conceptualized this idea of like how would you have a modern day like Shang-Chi or Iron Fist or Richard Dragon or Bronze Tiger, these guys who like their main weapon is martial arts. Because in today's martial arts, I say this as somebody who knows how to box, I know a little bit of Muay Thai, is Kung Fu and stuff like that, kind of the stigma behind them has been shattered. Because if you can't stop a double leg, what good are you?
Right.
And so I thought to myself, it's like, so who are the martial arts masters of the day? Well, you've got mixed martial artists like George St. Pierre, John Jones. Though I wonder if if cocaine is maybe his Popeye thing. I don't know, but Daniel, you got other guys like Daniel Cormier or Legends got like Matt Hughes, BJ Penn, stuff like that. And I'm like, that's sort of your modern day martial arts master. So I just came up with this idea of like, so what if we had this dude who was like an undefeated heavyweight mixed martial artist who was like a combat prodigy, like started out as kind of has the typical MMA backstory. Starts as a wrestler, amateur, is Big Ten champion, which is of course a big deal here in Illinois. Because we haven't won the Big Ten championship in wrestling in a long time.
Right.
And then he goes on to win the national title twice. It was all American, 3 out of 4 years in college. And instead of going towards the Olympics, he goes straight to combat sports, which is because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
And as time goes on, that's kind of the concept. Now I'm starting to get into the origin story, or at least part of it, to where the comic book picks up. Is he's disgraced because a drug test comes back positive for painkillers. And he'd been using them because he'd had all these injuries that were stacking up, but he had come to a point where he was basically just addicted to, aside from the painkillers, the women, the money, and the fame. And it kind of just brought him low because it destroyed his entire career. Because people are like, yeah, exactly. It's like, how long has he been on this? Is he taking other stuff? So his reputation was basically dead. He could win 20 more fights. Nobody would care, So he walks away from it all, decides to come back home to Chicago, starts getting involved with his dad's mentoring practice, and says to himself, it's like, I spent my money pretty wisely. I invested in a bunch of stuff. I bought businesses, I bought real estate, I'm still raking in cash, even though I'm not fighting. Why not put this back into the community? And then it is part of that outreach that causes him to go awry with a gang in the area. And I won't say what happens after that, but it ain't good. And that's how he decides to become a vigilante.
That's Englewood shit happens.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good way to put it.
Piper. You are a...
It's easy to understand. It's easy to relate to something like that because we've seen that story before, and we've all had that moment where maybe we fucked up or kind of let shit run wild on us and just went with the flow and we fucked up.
Yeah. Let's see.
I could have done something, but instead I just went with the flow and now I'm fucked, but it could be worse. What do I do now?
Yep, exactly.
I just realized I only did my shilling links on YouTube. I mean on Twitter, and didn't do it in my in other Discords that I'm in.
Whoop.
I was like,
that's why Mata's gone.
I was like, why is there only 4 people watching? We usually have more than that. Like,
I didn't do my
just
shilling.
Subscribe to us already.
Yeah, when you don't promote yourself, that kind of.
Oh, speaking of promoting yourself, go check out ogchan.com.
God
anyway,
Wow.
Gonna jump in on it, jumping all over Micah's moment here. But yeah, no. This is honestly what we need, as far as, because I forgot who said it. It might have been Mike Miller. with the way, and you're a comic book fan, obviously.
Oh yeah.
With the way that our heroes that we grew up with, as far as comic heroes, are being basically destroyed at the altar of social justice and things like that.
Yeah.
We don't have heroes anymore as far as that goes, I was talking, I was just in a stream at 8 o'clock with Robert Welling, and he said, somebody in the chat said that, Superman's boring. He's just a blank, he's just a, blank stare, he's perfect in every way and blah, blah, blah. It's like, Superman is supposed to be the example, right? When they created him, that was the deal. He was the example hero. It's like, this is what I would want in a hero. And I mean, I not much has changed with him, I guess, and I guess that can be boring, but it's also like what spawned out of that, all those like, interesting heroes who had, backstories that, you could relate to and things like that. But when it comes, that we don't get that anymore. It's like Zach says. When you read a comic and you open a comic, you don't want to see superhero eating lunch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you want to see a superhero fighting bad guys, or something like that.
Well, even with Superman, where basically no matter what you throw at him, he may struggle a little bit, but he is always going to win.
Mm-hmm.
That can be boring in its own way, but it's always how he comes out on top that's a big deal, especially now that we're out of the Silver Age and the Golden Age, and they can't just invent new powers every week.
Yeah.
Super math, super looming powers.
I was going to say, unless you're Jeff Loeb.
Yeah.
Loeb was infamous for that.
Yeah, he did the same thing with Red Hulk too.
Oh yeah.
If he needed Red Hulk to do something, he would just invent a power. So he could do whatever he needed him to do. But the thing, like one of the things with Superman that, especially I think more recent writers have come to grips with, but I think it's a good angle on him, is that he doesn't think he does enough, and so that's his struggle. He may have all these powers and stuff, but and I guess it kind of relates to your hero, your main character here. I'm kind of like that. All this shit happens. What can I do? And so he goes out and actually does something, instead of
exactly.
Yeah.
It may not be the right thing, but
Elijah Wallace.
Other stories. I remember one of my favorite Elseworld stories, just because it was an interesting take. They did a bunch of crap, and it was Act of God. I don't know if you've ever read it. All the superheroes in the DC universe lose their fucking powers because of a big flash of light, and a lot of them all react to it differently, except for Batman, because he's Batman.
Yeah.
Basically, he gets to go around lording around how much better he is than everybody because he's Batman.
Well, here's the real question. Did he check his bank account? Because his superpower seems to be being rich.
Yeah, like Superman turned into a drunk, but the thing with Supergirl was that she became a cop because at her core, she just wanted to help people. But then she realized that, I stopped this guy, this mugger, but while I was doing that, there was this domestic disturbance, and this dude beat his girlfriend half to death. While that was happening, this guy is dying in an alley because he got mugged. And because I was too busy filling out paperwork for this, I couldn't be over there helping these people. Things were a lot better when I could just beat these guys up, drop them off at the cops, make a statement, and leave. Am I really doing enough?
Mm-hmm. Well, it became as they say, it became quote real. Like
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but that would have been funny. I think about that. You're talking about Superman and his bank account. Not Superman, Batman. You can imagine he's all like, they all lose their powers. He's like, ha, LOL, y'all are nothing now. I'm the best I'm the best hero of all time. And he looks at his bank account. No. he loses Wayne Manor and a mortgage.
It's funny, like Supergirl and a couple of other heroes show up to the Batcave so that Bruce Wayne can train them to be heroes without powers. Mm-hmm. And it looks like he's been waiting for them the whole fucking time. He's just hanging out above one of his display cases in a fucking action pose. I've been waiting for you.
Well, they don't know he's been doing that for 3 years. Like he goes to bed at night, he gets up in the morning, he gets on top of the display case and waits. They'll be here eventually.
I thought you'd be here sooner.
I miscalculated. My one mistake.
I wonder if Batman had just ever took a moment where he just looked at himself in the mirror and just went, God damn, I'm awesome. That's what I'd do. I won't even lie.
Hey, you're a pretty good looking dude. Why, thank you, Batman.
It's kind of like during Civil War, which I think if there was anything good that came out of Civil War was the Punisher's involvement in Civil War, where he saved like Spider-Man's ass.
Oh yeah,
and he had the best reasoning ever. I was like, that's a pretty good reasoning. Now, they said, Captain America said, well, the question is, Frank, why now? Why are you now getting involved? He said, because the government started hiring murderers and thieves.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, all right, I can get behind that. That's fine.
In all seriousness, though, that's one of the best like full page splashes ever. You see Peter in that Iron Spider armor. Frank's just holding him there like it's his kid, oddly enough. And I think that's part of the reason he had such an emotional response.
Yeah.
He just, I think the line's like, get a medic now. I think that's all he says.
Yeah. Yeah, of all, because it was just so cool, because I think it was like issue 5 when he did that, because it was near the end of the story, and all of a sudden nobody thinks about the Punisher, right? And
yeah,
and then here he comes.
But, yeah, that was one of the most unexpected twists in that story.
Yeah,
and it kind of made me want a Mark Miller Punisher story, and we never got it.
Yeah, that's true. I think he would have done a good job on that.
Oh yeah, not as good as Garth Ennis, but
no,
still.
Oh man, when Garth Ennis took over the Marvel Knights? That's when he first did Punisher. Of course, he did the Max.
Yeah, it was back in 2000. Oddly enough, he did Welcome Back, Frank, and a couple other arcs. Then he took a couple years off, and then I want to say it wasn't Quesada. It was oddly enough, Tom Brevoort called him and said, I will pay you whatever you want to do the Punisher again. He's like, you can come back and write this character whenever you want. And because it was a huge seller.
Yeah.
And
that's when they did Max, right? Yeah, Marvel Max.
Yeah, and that's when the Max imprint started. And that's probably, I would say, the downside about Max is it didn't have that many good titles.
Yeah.
But it had that, and it had Supreme Power.
Yeah.
And those are both excellent.
Yeah. Hey, remember when Marvel did good books, guys? That was
right?
In the before times, in the long ago.
When men were men and women were men and the children were men.
No, that's right now.
That's what's happening now, Mike. You get
that's current year, yeah.
Mike, you need to stay out of the firewater, brother. You doing? You been in that MSG again? You been eating that Chinese food?
I'm staying off of it.
I was about to say, if we start getting into DMT, are we just going to start the Joe Rogan Experience or something?
Oh, that's crazy, man. Have you ever done DMT?
That's pretty
Maynard
killer,
James
man.
Keenan dropped huge news about Tool on his most recent appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience, and Rogan just glances over it completely. It's like, so about your wine. Like, this is the band that wrote 46 and 2, fuckface. Come on.
That's pretty killer, man. So what kind of weed do you like?
Yeah.
Jamie, can you bring up that?
Oh, Jamie, bring up that. Oh man, you could just tear your arms off. Look at him.
Oh, and was that somebody made a joke about him? He says, and I know he's big into MMA and stuff like that, but one of the funny things is like, how come he thinks everything is a go-go plata?
What's a go-go plata?
It's isn't that the was it a triangle choke with your legs?
It's a type of jiu-jitsu hold. What you do is you wrap one of your legs when you're in the guard position. You wrap it literally over the back of someone's shoulder, and you take the front of your foot and shin, and you start choking them with it. And basically, you're pulling down on their head, and you're pushing upward with their leg into their throat, and they either tap or fall asleep. It's not fun to be in.
Mike, if you know a little bit about you know something about WWE. Remember Undertaker's submission, Hell's Gate?
Oh yes, the Hell's Gate. I hated that.
Yeah, it was a version. It was his version of that, but Mark Calloway is also 6'10", and it looked very awkward.
Yes, yes, very much so.
I was like, that's why big guys don't usually do submissions, people. Like, but no, yeah. So.
Oh, okay, all right.
You went and looked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looks goofy with a really large man. Who's not trying to actually
It works better with somebody who's like more slender and can get his, can be more maneuverable. And also, I think the first time Taker did it was against like freaking what's his name, Viscera.
Yeah.
So you had a large man putting a supposed chokehold with his legs on a very large man. And he wasn't really choking. There was no kind of there's no kind of kayfabe to whatever bought that he that Viscera was actually being choked out. So
yeah. Well, the big problem with it. Yeah, the big problem with it was, and I say this, I've never practiced jiu-jitsu, but I did wrestle in high school, and I'm kind of familiar with a lot of grappling stuff. And for me, it was just like, even before I even knew what a gogoplata was, I saw that and I'm like, he could just stand up right now and be out of that hold.
Yeah.
All he has to do is stand up, because without the arm trapped, you've got leverage to just get up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was watching a video the other day, and it was these guys who said, basically say, we're taking your favorite WWF, basically favorite wrestling holds, and showing you how you could get out of them,
Yeah.
and how easy actually, and then they would show you a version that would be used in MMA that would be more effective, right? Like the ankle lock for Kurt Angle. They said it's so easy to get out of this. Like you just roll through it, or try to stand up on it. Relieve the pressure. Then they would show like an actual leg lock, and the guy's like, I can't get out because he's like way down there. I'm trying to punch out, but he's like he's taking my leg to hell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think they showed up. They showed the figure 4. He said, "Does this hurt?" He said, "No, I feel fine." Yeah, it was just fun. It was funny. And then he was saying like, so I was going to show you a move that I call the Texas Cloverleaf, but apparently that's also a wrestling move. So it was funny. So yeah. What was I going to ask? Get back.
Oh, that reminds me of kids that have been taught fighting moves, but they haven't really been taught fighting moves. Like, here, let me show you this fucking hold I know. Grab me like this.
Yeah.
Okay, now if I do this right, it'll break your arm. Don't worry, I'm not going to do it though. But if I did it, I totally could.
Oh God.
That always
saved your life just now.
That reminded me of a little story. It was an Owen Hart story, and if anybody knows like wrestling, Owen Hart was like a big jokester, like behind the scenes. He was always like messing with people and doing crazy shit. When they did like road shows, where it wasn't TV and stuff, he would just like mess around. One time they were in Saudi Arabia, and it was him, and it was like him. It was a 6-man tag or something like that, and it was like him and I think his tag team with like Davey Boy Smith and Dude Love, and it was like Bret Hart and 2 other guys. I don't forget who it was. And so they had this whole thing where Bret puts him in a sharpshooter, and Owen's going to struggle, to get out of it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And all he did, he just like Bret had him in the, he cinched him in the hold, and he's just like laying there. He's got his hands on his like chin, like He starts like pretending like he's looking at his watch, And they said like the other like 4 guys were dying. The referee was dying. They were like, "Oh my God, Owen, what are you doing?" And Bret kind of looked. He didn't realize what was going on. He looked back and saw Owen was doing that, so he actually cinched up and leaned back. And then hear Owen go, "Ah!"
Oh yeah, he was trying not to sell it, but then he was like, "Oh."
Yeah, he was like literally no selling it, and then Bret, saw he was doing it. He said, "All right, I got you." But yeah, let's see. How many pages is Englewood going to be? I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's gonna be so many pages. Pages
All
for
of the
days.
pages.
These are all pages. Did we lose Micah?
Wow.
Could have lost Micah.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna play a game called Where's Micah Curtis?
Internet took a dump.
It could be. That's kind of weird.
That's what he said.
Did he?
Yep.
He's
Oh,
gone
I'm in the
somewhere
wrong-
that they needed.
Okay.
They needed him more.
Okay, well, okay. Michael will be back in a second. Okay. It's funny because he's still in the thing.
Messages. Right back.
Are you doing ABC this morning?
Yup.
I mean, why not?
Actually, it was a hell of a day for this morning. I did not get any sleep last night at all.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, once you and I finished working on editing that script together,
Mm-hmm.
I waited an hour for my bank to open to get my rent money, and then drive all the way back home for 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah.
All right, I think I'm back.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's it's really blown out. What in the world?
Yeah, sorry about that. I switched over my phone.
Oh, okay. All right.
Rest in peace, eardrums.
We could deal with it. We'll deal with it.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can turn me down or what, but
Yeah, I can do that. Give me just a second. Just a quick little drop it down just a little.
Everyone's dropping down.
All right, there you go. Say something, Micah.
something.
All right, that works. I
That's
can do it.
better. That's better.
If y'all put him in,
All right, cool.
I'll tell you guys here. If you want to put him at 90%, that equalizes. So the question was.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No, that's no problem, dude. I mean, one night I was literally in the middle of a stream and my internet just took the biggest shit.
Yeah.
And it's like it got to the point like they couldn't hear me, like nobody could hear me, but the stream was still going somehow. And I was like, "Oh my god, what's going on?" And I had to reset the router and everything, trying to get everything back up before YouTube just kicked me off, kicked it off for good. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "This is the most I've worked in 6 months."
Have you tried resetting the modem and the router?
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, Xavier works tech support, so he's like, that's how. So the question was before that happened, how many pages is Englewood going to be?
Englewood will be 36. Originally, it was just going to be a 24-page, issue number 1, but I kind of realized that a lot of the action in it didn't come around until like halfway through the book. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, we need something to kind of pick this up a little bit quicker. So what I ended up doing was saying like, all right, here's what I'll do. I think that I can reasonably price this thing at $5 for digital if I were to add 12 more pages to it.
Right.
So I did. And it's basically sort of like an issue 0, but not quite.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I basically, like introduce all your players, kind of thing, and
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because I'm scrolling through the artwork now, and it looks great. This is some good stuff.
Well, you definitely want to make sure you get your setting, your characters get room to breathe, so they can be paced properly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. These are some, and Brian Martinez's art. I had never heard of this gentleman until I think, you announced it pretty much. So,
really?
Yeah. But the problem, how people just get lost in the shuffle. Unfortunately, sometimes we even, you know what I mean. So, I'm not trying to insult the man. Don't get me wrong.
No, I understand completely.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Brian, he for where he is known, he's known as part of the Honey Badger Brigade.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
Yeah, and for the longest time, I had known he had done art, but I never really had a look at it. He just shoots me a link, and I'm like, holy crap, this is really good. Like, why are you not doing a comic book? And he's like, well, I am going to do one, but it's... And he tells me about what it is, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty neat. It's this concept called Bombshell about basically a girl a woman who's able to explode herself. And, the fact that her power is it's difficult to control and not, hurt people.
Right.
So... And I might end up scripting that one too, so that'll be interesting. Yeah. But because instead of me paying him, he'll have to pay me.
Well, finally, I can be in this relationship.
So it's not going to be some bullshit.
Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
Not quite. No.
Okay.
So, colors. Color Search, Armand Strange. I I think I've seen his name before. I mean, and there's good coloring. I will say that, very good. Because you can, if you don't have I always say, if you don't have a good colorist on your comic book, black and white, being an exception, of course, because it's black and white. You don't have a good colorist, it could make or break your book. And
yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, and
the stuff he's doing right now just blows me away because he's in tune with kind of what the modern look is when it comes to books. He's one of the few guys that really kind of gets the style of like how skin looks when light reflects it and stuff like that. Like you look at the cover, and it's a really good example of that.
Yeah. I love
it's
yeah. That cover looks.
It's just, yep. So that wraparound, man, I cannot wait for people to hold on to that thing. They're gonna love it. So.
Yeah, like the using the light source and everything like that, and it's just really, really good. Like, holy crap. I hate to ask, and if you don't have to answer, if it's somebody who didn't want to be, it's like, but who's doing the lettering?
As of right now, I have a person in mind that I'm going to hire to do it, but I don't know what his rate is. So if it's too expensive, it's basically just doing me. But because I've done some practice with it, I can do it. It's just I'm not experienced with it, so it's going to take me a bit longer to get it finished than it would if I hired a professional.
Right.
Because a professional could probably get it done in a day, and for me, it would probably take much longer than that because I've never done it before.
Right.
But yeah, it'll I do understand that it's going to be something. It's like if I start it and I suck at it, I'm hiring somebody.
Yeah.
I'll pay out of pocket if I have to.
Yeah.
So.
Because if you'd have said Eric Weathers, I wouldn't have been shocked because.
Well, like he says, he letters everything.
Yeah. It's like I was looking at all the different. I was looking through some different projects last night, and I'm like, wow, he's attached to a lot of projects, like literally.
Oh yeah. Well, and one thing that he told me when I was talking to him is like he can get a full 22-page comic done within a day.
Wow.
8 hours of work, and it's over. It's like, damn.
That's amazing. What was I going to say? I know there's one guy. I don't know. I mean, I've seen some of his samples, and as far as lettering goes, he advertises on Twitter too. If let me know because I follow this guy. And if you run into that issue, you let me know, and I'll point you in his direction because he's got
absolutely.
He's got a pretty good rate per page. So he also does coloring and stuff like that. But the thing I think he offers like coloring and flats. Some people just like flat colors.
Yeah.
And then he also said he does lettering, and also in that lettering he also means like action shots, so like the bam pow kind of thing. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so like I said, if it don't work out, I can point you towards him.
Works for me.
Yes, sir. So let's go over these. Let's go over these perks. I always go over the perks.
Alrighty.
So of course $5 is the digital. That's going to be as it says here, a digital copy 32 well, you said 36.
Yeah, it's actually 36. That's not correct.
Yeah, so Hat needs to get in here and fix that.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Everyone shame the Hat Man.
Everyone shame Hat Man. Shame on you, Alex.
What kind of apparel are you planning to add as a stretch goal?
Sorry.
Actually, the stretch goals we're not going to unveil until it's funded. But one that we are going to do, like right out of the gate, is the lead character's his MMA gym. We're going to have like stickers for everybody who backs physical, so that you can like slap on your car, your computer, put it on your forehead. I don't care. But that'll be the first stretch goal. Second one will probably be I'll go to North Carolina and sign everything because Hatman's doing all the shipping for me because he has control of the merch. Because he's now the co-owner of a printing shop.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's neat.
Yeah. Nice. So, because we're going to be getting our merch store up and running probably by the time that this comic is about ready, or probably about 3 weeks before it's ready to ship. And like I won't spoil. Like I'll just put it this way: we're able to get high quality shirts cheaper than and provide them to people cheaper than what you could get off Crypto Fashion.
Oh yeah!
But timing down with that soundboard, I'll give her that. But yeah,
yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, now since we have control of that, it's like, oh, we got merch down pat. It ain't even gonna be a thing.
yeah. But yeah, looking at, like I said, with the $5 digital, it reminded me of what I think it was Piper. Was it Simon last week who said this? Simon Pothier, who said basically a $5 digital tier is like money in my pocket.
Yeah, I think that was him. Yeah,
because he said it's like people still get the book. You get to enjoy it. All I have to do is send an email.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And
there's almost no like production cost at all.
Yeah. And that's why I said, for people, and I look at it like this when I say, people said I don't really like digital and stuff. I was like, you might as well offer it, because some people might just want it, like I don't want to carry my book around to read because, especially if you consider it like a collector's item. Let's be honest, Micah, would you be carrying around that first edition of Cyberfrog Chromium cover, just carrying it around wherever? Like, I would.
Oh no,
yeah.
No, that would stay on my shelf.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be something I'd be like, if I had a digital version of that, it's like, all right, I can just read it, like when I want to, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, it's always important to remember that the one thing the customer values more than making the right choice is the ability to make the choice.
That is very true.
Yes.
Very true. So let's go to, Power Jab, $10 tier. Physical copy. Physical
Yes.
copy. Yeah, physical copy of Englewood comic, all 36 pages, including the prequel story and the full issue 1. Very nice. Are these all going to be signed?
If we hit the $15,000 stretch goal that I had planned, they will definitely all be signed by me.
Gotcha. Okay. Hat's going to have put in some business cards.
Oh, my internet's back up. So let me switch back over to the computer here.
Yeah, sure thing.
Because the microphone on my Bluetooth kind of blows.
Yeah, we know. We deal with Xavier every night. He's like he likes to run off like before the show and like go get like Monster energy drinks and stuff and and he's trying to talk.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, it's like Xavier, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? Well, we're trying to be
very busy man.
Very busy. Very busy man. I got to stay away. Yeah.
All right, 1 second.
Yeah, no problem. Nope. There you go.
There we go.
Back. Yeah. Now I got to turn you back up.
Yeah.
Now with my studio quality microphone.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's something because I'm.
Oh yeah!
You got more sounds, Piper. You can use more than.
I like.
No.
It just seemed appropriate a lot.
Yeah, when I'm strongly considering because I've got I'm doing a PC upgrade this weekend, like buying all the parts and stuff. I'm really considering getting a nice studio mic since I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah, do it.
I just would have to get some like because you don't hear it too much because I got this headset has pretty good noise canceling, so I need something to fill the room. Probably get some sound noise canceling panels and stuff like that in here just so you don't hear that echo.
Well,
Hear that.
either that or with me, you get kind of like a directional microphone or something like that. Like mine, because I have acoustic paneling in like my closet just sitting there that I could put up, but with the microphone I have, I don't really need it.
Right.
So
I got a Blue Yeti. I just don't think I have it configured correctly. Like mostly correctly.
Mm-hmm. I've been told by Yellow Lantern in the chat, really considering taking away Piper's access to the soundboard. I can't do anything about it. It's her phone.
I tried banishing her to the Shadow Realm for it one time. And y'all got mad.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll do it right now. I mean, look at that.
Mind crush.
Objection! It only gets worse when you bring him back.
Yeah, she's gonna, see,
Right?
See, that's the thing. You can't get rid of her. She comes back and wilds out. You can't.
Right?
How dare you? Okay. That's the sound of Marvel Comics every day you walk in the door.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a soundtrack to Joe Quesada's life.
Yeah.
Jose Quesadilla.
Yeah. I just imagine Joe. I think he goes home every night and listens to "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend," like realizing all the mistakes he's made in life, but he has to continue on this, on this life because he's done it, So
see, given the direction of Marvel lately, I figured he's just like watched the Rachel Maddow show and jerked off. But I've been wrong before.
Yeah.
Hey, it could be worse. He could be Mark Waid.
Yeah, Mark Waid's a prick.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants to be Mark Waid anymore. Not even Mark Waid.
I think boy Zach made a great, like a few weeks ago, had a great video when he was talking about Mark Waid. It was either his own video or he was on the stream with Ethan, and he brought this because he said, "I used to think writers were smart." No offense, Micah. He said, "I used to think writers were really smart, especially successful writers." He says, "After dealing with Mark Waid for a little while, I realized that's not true."
Yeah. Said no offense to my boy, but I will say he talks more shit about his legal case than anybody I've ever seen in the middle of a lawsuit before. I'm like, I never expected from him because it's like, no, I can't say I wouldn't because I probably would, but I tend to talk shit to everybody, so it's just sort of how it goes.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, man, go for it.
Yeah.
Fuck him. I don't like him either. So
I figured he was about to open up because for a long time he didn't say a word about it, right?
Yeah.
And then one day he started off a video and he goes like, and it had Mark Waid on it. I'm like, what's it gonna do? And he starts it off. He goes like, hey everyone, it's your boy Zach, and I got to be careful because he can't say the wrong thing, because. He doesn't want it to well, he said on his video, blah, 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 that kind of thing. Like what's going on with the whole Vic Mignogna situation. Everything that Nick Rekieta has said is now in a court document, apparently.
Yup. Though I will say I noticed that he started talking more trash after the first deposition came out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because, well, first off, object to form. But
take a shot.
But in all seriousness though, it's Wade said some of the dumbest shit that I think I've ever heard a human being say. Mm-hmm. Like there's a spectrum of white nationalism or white supremacy. I'm like, what? How? Alex, I'll take dumb shit Mark Waid said for 500.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like Mark Waid in that moment actually had a chart underneath the table that he could have pulled out if you asked, so you could illustrate the scale. It's a 1 to 10 sliding scale here.
I need that now. I need a picture of Mark Waid like he's pointing at something, but he's pointing at a screen that's showing the spectrum of white nationalism.
Well, the problem is that it would be a long line, and underneath it would say everybody I don't like.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. It would say everybody I don't like, and the other side me. Like,
yeah.
The normal unenlightened people that don't hate black people but are unenlightened, they're about here. You're about here.
Mm-hmm. Wow, he's getting.
I'm over here.
I gotta say he's getting into Bob Chipman territory.
Right?
Getting into that Bob Chipman.
Richard Meyer would be more like over here.
He might not quite be all the way over here. He's not wearing a hood or anything, but
Nazis here. All right, so you got Hitler here, and far behind him is Nietzsche. Okay.
Or he could just go full on, and it's like, since there's a spectrum, he said, okay, Hitler's way over here. Behind him is Zach.
No. At the end, what you've got is a triangle figure, and each corner's got a Klansman. You've got fucking Goebbels, and then you've got fucking Hitler.
Yep. And then right next to him is Zach.
Yeah.
Well,
he's right in the middle of this triangle.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, what I just found hilarious about all that, it's like, how did you think that this was going to play out? Like,
Right.
I still don't understand. Like, it is one of the dumbest things I think I've ever seen somebody in comic books do. Like, that's, and I've read One More Day.
Right, yeah.
Wow. Gotta give that to Oof.
Yeah, definitely. What was it? There was something that, and I would really love, because Nick Rekieta kind of like alludes to what was probably said, but you'll never know because it was like a brief recess.
Mm-hmm.
You remember during the depot, the question was, I think it was it Joe? It was one of the brothers from Antarctic, and they asked the question, which, by the way, this not in any way, shape, or form matters, right? His answer didn't matter at all. Did you feel? Did Mark Wade's phone call, in any way influence you about severing ties with Richard Meyer? And he goes, no. And which for T.I. that doesn't matter because the attempt was made, and all you need is the attempt. But I can just imagine he says no, and then Zach says Mark Wade just goes yes.
Isn't that in the official transcript?
Yes,
too?
it is. And then they immediately asked for a short recess because I'm sure there was some beratement going on in that room.
Yeah, his lawyer was definitely telling him to shut the fuck up at that point.
Yeah, it's like
because
I've already told you, you're not supposed to talk.
The fact that he celebrated that, makes him look guilty.
Oh, and the fact, remember right after that, when this, when that motion came out, he put out that big long Facebook post saying basically I won the case.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's like, we won the case. My lawyer is filing a motion to dismiss today, and everything's gonna be fine. And of course, the judge is like, no, we're going forward.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
no, and this is here's the funny thing about this is it doesn't help that Wade hired Mark Zaid as one of his lawyers.
Yeah,
because Zaid, people don't know this about Zaid. I had kind of heard about him before because Zaid has done editorials for the Washington Post, and Zaid is like Captain Virtue Signal. Like if he's the less popular version of Mike Avenatti,
right?
And he constantly flies off at the mouth. And you've got a guy who's so fucking stupid that he won't shut up, coupled with a lawyer who flies off at the mouth. Like if he had a decent lawyer who knew when to tell people to shut up, Wade wouldn't be saying half the shit he is.
Right.
So
I feel like there's a comic book pitch here somewhere.
Oh yeah, it's my next campaign. It's called Mark Wade is a Prick.
Yeah. I think was it Piper? You said you're convinced that Mark Wade and Mark Zaid are the same person.
Yeah, I don't think Mark Zaid is real. I think Wade just puts on like a fake mustache and glasses.
I'm Mark
and he's
Zaid.
like really shitty at coming up with like a fake name.
I'm Mark Zaid. I mean Mr. Wade's attorney.
Right?
No. Here's the funny. If you look at a picture of Mark Zaid, you'll be like, yeah, that's about right. Like he looks like an asshole.
And I remember they talked about how how the Mark Wade people, all his fans, all four of them were all celebrating about the fact, he's got this. Remember the whole super lawyer thing, right?
Yeah,
he's got a super lawyer. He sued. What was it? I forgot. He sued Beirut or it was some country he sued and won. I'm like, well, he's a part of the case, but it wasn't like he was litigating it himself.
Yeah, he's a national security guy.
Yeah. So it wasn't like he was out there banging, it was they act like he was in there doing an epic court, when you see on TV this one lawyer, he's giving this oratory for 5 hours, and stuff like that, and then he won even though it with everything stacked against him, he still won. It's no, he was part of a basic he was one in a million, one in 10 people who were involved in that thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, here's the problem. Speaking just not somebody who really knows law, that's the next thing. I know politics.
Yes.
And Zaid is, like I said, he's done stuff for the Washington Post. He's big on whistleblowers. And he actually, if he wasn't such an asshole, would have been the perfect lawyer for this. But what he gets presented with is because he's super, super, super lefty.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets presented with this guy that he thinks is sold to Mark Waid as somebody who's like Richard Spencer of comics.
Right.
And it's like, no, this isn't Vox Day. This is probably one of the most beloved people in the indies right now.
Yeah.
And you done fucked up, son.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, it's like, and plus calling him a racist. I think it was just some guy who. It's probably the funniest line I ever heard related to Zach, where he said, like, we're talking about Richard C. Meyer. The last time he was inside of a white woman, he was being born.
Damn.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness though, it's like Zayd just is not. He's on. This is a crusade for him, and. Yeah. Because because he's been led to believe that he's taken down this big time white supremacist.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to impose on my gig. Like my thing is the crusading, asshole.
Yeah.
Like, Christ.
Yeah.
But no, he's convinced that he's taken down somebody like a Richard Spencer or something like that, not understanding it's like, no, this is just a dude who spent too much time in the military and too much time in tech and just writes comics and likes to fuck with people.
Yeah.
Like he is not a white supremacist.
A little bit of a rough edge because that's the way he is. It's just upbringing.
Exactly. It's his personality. You either love it or you hate it. Most people love it.
Mm-hmm.
The you sometimes don't think he's real, but he talks behind the scenes like he does on video.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about him.
I've heard that.
Because that's kind of how he and I get along. I think people expect us to be characters, and we're not. We actually do act like this.
From everything I've seen about him, and from people who said they've talked to him, like you said, behind the scenes and like on streams and stuff. I remember Ethan said he's like, I remember Ethan saying, guys, he's exactly like this, behind the scenes. Because,
all the time.
Because I think it was like the other week he was like he was talking about like, I tuned into one of your streams, thinking y'all were talking because the title was like talking about some comic book, and there was a guy playing guitar. Because apparently that kind of annoys him. It's like, why is there a guy up there playing guitar? Why aren't you talking about comic books?
that is 100% him. That is for sure.
It was a very sad emotional moment. So this was Wonderwall.
We had it. We got our friend. I guess now he goes by Samoan because he is Samoan. But he was in here one night. We were just talking. I think we were making fun of. It might have been who were we making fun of? Probably Chipman, somebody like that. Or Mundane Matt. Whoever.
Well, I'm down for either of those. I got Mundane Matt stories for later if you want them.
Yes, please.
So we were just talking, and all of a sudden, I didn't even know he had his guitar on him because he can play guitar. He does really good. And he just goes, anyway, here's Wonderwall. And he started playing.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I was like, well, at least it's a fan rendition, so we won't get, copyright hit on that one. I got a copyright hit the other day. It was a claim, not a strike or anything. I got a claim.
Mm-hmm.
And this is on a stream. I kid you not, Micah. I played... what's the song I played at the beginning? Careless Whispers as a joke.
Careless Whispers a lot.
Yeah, I played that as a joke because Mandy Summers on, and I wanted to play up that whole video she had for her campaign, right? Played that at the beginning. It wasn't a rendition. It was like, George Michael,
Yeah, exactly.
And I played a few other songs. So I played, I don't know if you that one song that was put out about Ron Toye, I Do Not Recall.
Yeah.
I put that out, and that's what got copyright claim.
Oh, my God.
And the reason why, because I PM'd Supergirl, who's the one who put it out, and I said, what's up with this? And she said, oh, it's the backing track that's copyrighted. I'm like, I said, of all the things I did that night, because I'm like, we're not monetized right now. I can kind of wild out a little bit, as long as they don't strike me, I get hit for a claim on a fan video, which I thought you would think would be transformative, but whatever, right?
Yeah.
They're saying the stream dried. Hold on a second. Piper, is the stream going? I know you usually.
You don't know, do you?
Well, let me refresh it because it just.
I just refreshed it. It looks like it's still going.
Looks live for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it still looks live for
Well,
me.
it's just Yellow Lantern's just got terrible internet then. So we move on. Man of Lunacy says, "Can we take a minute to talk about why liking Superman as a character is objectively wrong?" Damn dog. We talked about that earlier. Go back and.
Before we do that, unplug the power to your modem and router. Count to 30, then plug the modem back in by first. Modem's got to come online first, or they won't talk to each other properly.
Do you actually have to explain it in layman terms like that sometime?
Yes.
I understand. I had to do tech support and stuff too, so I know. I used to. Now think about this. This is back in the late 90s.
I've broken enough electronics in my day.
Wait, no. We've done that on this show. But yeah, no,
ma'am. Because your phone runs through your modem, don't unplug your modem, or we're gonna lose the call. Hello.
Hello. Oh, damn it. Oh well. We'll call her back in a few minutes after about 30 seconds when it reboots. Okay? Now I remember the story. You're gonna like this because I just thought of it. Anybody who's ever done customer service, I think this is probably the dumbest one I've ever had, and I'm not kidding. I've worked at GameStop. I've worked for a phone company. I worked for a log cabin selling outfit and stuff like that. Of course, I'm working with my father in the plumbing business and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We were in the middle of Hurricane Bertha. And I'm here in North Carolina. You know, it was raging off the coast. A woman calls me from Kitty Hawk. Yeah, my phone line's down. I would imagine it is, ma'am. When is it going to come back up? I'm like, ma'am, you do realize all that wind and stuff outside your door is a hurricane, right? Oh, really? I'm like,
Oh, well, shit.
I said, hold on just a minute. I asked my supervisor. I was like, I don't know how to deal with this.
Retard alert!
How do I deal with this? What? I don't know. And they said, just take the call. Just take it as a service loss, and just just tell her we'll get it done as soon as possible. Because during a hurricane, especially an emergency like that, the only thing you can do is say we'll get there sometime. Because there's no concrete date you can give them. Because there is no way to know.
You gotta wait for the.
You actually gotta wait for the storm. Yeah, I really like to see those guys. And granted, I give those operators, like people who do power lines and telephone and stuff like that. I give them all the credit in the world because sometimes they do that in the middle of bad weather.
Yeah,
right?
they'll still do it during some shit.
But I don't think they're
not
do it
hurricane shit.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it out in 80-mile-per-hour winds and.
Yeah, no.
No, I think
they do. They go out there in rain and snow and shit like that, but not high wind generally.
Yeah, I believe they get paid really, really well though to do that.
They get hazard pay, yeah.
Why do you think and honestly, you do need them when during a state of emergency like that, when they come from out of state and stuff like that. Of course you need them, but why do you think so many people are willing to make the trip to a something like that? Because they're going to get paid good during that time. I mean, I'm not sure. I hope they're not like, yeah, hurricane. I hope they're like, well, I'll go make some extra money, kind of thing.
I'm just laughing to myself, imagining how that conversation went. Wait, there's a hurricane outside? Yeah.
You can imagine.
Well, what should I do?
I would suggest getting in a closet and
tuck your head between your legs and kiss your ass goodbye.
Yeah.
Hey, for a hurricane? A hurricane?
Yeah, why not? It could happen.
Pussy.
But Micah reminded me. The first time I saw that phrase was it was a drill for it was like showing a drill for a nuclear explosion.
Yes, boy meets world.
Yeah.
There's a
And I say it was a meme, but I saw a meme on YouTube, on internet one day, like a long time ago, and it's literally like duck. And it shows the kid ducking, and it said cover, and it had his head, the head was between his legs. And then somehow his head reached around all the way around to his ass, and it said, kiss your ass goodbye. I'm like, yep, that's what you do. So when I worked for RCN Internet, one day, Amtrak cut the main line and handled the internet for the East Coast.
Jeez.
we laughed at the people who were like, "I'll just go to AOL."
Oh dear Lord.
That tickled Mike. You all right there,
I
buddy?
can't believe Mike fucking died.
Yeah, I can't believe Mike is fucking dead. Oh man. Anyway, back to what were we doing? Back to business. Good gracious. Why do you give me off topic all the time?
You did that yourself.
That's true. I'm the host. I have no one to blame but myself.
Right?
So before we start making fun of Monday Matt, the jab combo is the physical and digital with all 36 pages. I'm trying to keep that in mind. And so that's physical and digital. So that's $15. Keeping the cost in a pretty good range. Well, I guess because of the printing, you've got to.
Well, we actually were able to find. We're going to be able to overprint on this for what I budgeted.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's not like the pricing's not that big of a deal. It's more or less just getting the people in the door so far.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, if we sell like 250, I think we'll be way past goal.
Oh, nice. Very nice. See, in the counterpunch physical copy, Englewood Director's Cut. The version includes prequel story, full issue 1, preliminary sketches, and forward by author Micah Curtis. And I mean, you're going to forward your own book. That's a good job.
Well, I just wanted to do like an in-depth just thing about what it was that brought about the book and the process of getting it published, and just kind of like sort of like both a warning and encouragement to anybody who wants to try to do the same thing.
Yeah,
because people always ask me, it's like, so how do you do this? I'm like, I'll let you know once it's done.
Right?
Because I don't fucking know.
That's like been a lot. I think that's everybody who's like kind of getting in the middle and starting all this, right? I mean, even the big boys, are like, because people like Malin and Ethan and Miller, Mike Miller and stuff. They've had they had Marvel and DC, to handle all that. It's like I forgot who. I think it was Ethan who said, "I never had to promote my book. DC did that."
Exactly.
Why I had to worry about printing? DC did that. I had to say, turn your work in on time. That was, that was never going to happen. But still. But that's the thing, man. This is new territory for many people, and I think, like I said, but the thing is, you do have people who have gone before you that hopefully you can reach out to, say, hey, I got this going on. How do I get from A to B? All right, well, you do this. Oh, okay. Yeah,
It's definitely been that's going to be a big part of what I talk about, though. It's just kind of inspiration for the book and just kind of some advice, because like I've had a lot of people cheering me on, but at the same time, I haven't there's a lot of questions I could have asked that I probably should have asked that I didn't ask. Yeah, and for not asking, I've kind of paid for it in some of the more difficult moments of this. So,
such as,
well, one thing was just the whole process of putting the campaign up. Like one thing that I noticed is I would say probably the first $4,000 I got in this campaign, we got because I have been literally hyping this up on my YouTube channel of me putting out a comic for at least a year, and been telling people about it whenever they would listen. And so it sold basically more than I realized. And but now it's starting to slow down. I'm like, I started looking at it objectively, and had some other people that I know look at it too. And they're like, well, you haven't updated the art in almost a month. I'm like, oh, shit. and they're like, just look at some other stuff that other people are doing. Get on IndieCron. That'll probably help a little bit. And since that, today we just rolled out the big update, all the images in front of the tiers and the pinup. We'll get to the pinup later, but but all this stuff, it looks so much better now.
Right. Because have you been on Malin's, Ania?
I have not. Would not be against it. I was told that by Adam Post that Billy Tucci wants to have me on Crowdfunding Comics.
Oh, that's cool. Billy seems like a firecracker.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm told.
I had a little fun with him. What I like about him, I know he watches the chat, because I think it was like the other way. I think Mandy Summers was on there, and I just tuned in to support, support her. She's been on the show and stuff, so it's like, yeah. And I made a joke. I said, finally, there's somebody prettier on the panel than Billy,
Nah.
And then in the chat, I mean, I could see him laughing on stream. Like you could tell he muted his mic and started laughing. And then in the chat, he tags me. He goes, "LOL." So that was just fun. That was just fun aside. Guys, please don't start talking about what the white girls do with dogs. Can we not do that in the chat, please? Piper is well aware of her sins.
I think we already established with the chart.
Yeah, we don't want to do
that I do not fuck dogs.
This stream with.
I'm not gonna lie. You pulling out the chart did not help at all.
It did not help. Still established. I don't fuck dogs.
You just had to come and say it, didn't you?
Just saying, I don't. So discussion's over.
You know how you say, how they say on the internet, you're about to be Ben Henderson, not Ben Henderson,
Ben
Garrison. You're about to be Ben Garrison, right?
Hmm?
You're about to be Ben
Good
Garrison.
old Zyklon Ben.
Yep, you're going to become like that's who you are now. You're the girl that fucks dogs.
No.
Because remember, he fought for years. 4chan. He's like, I'm not going to have these people destroying my work by putting Nazi paraphernalia all over it, and then he kept doing it because he said stop doing it, right? And then when he finally embraced it, say what? I'm sorry.
I said I'm so confused right now.
Okay. The meme is Piper, she's has a werewolf thing.
Werewolf fetish.
Yeah.
I like werewolves. They're the best.
And of course, one thing led to another. Apparently, there's a chart about stages of werewolfism.
And how far along in the chart she'll still fuck it.
Yeah.
God damn it. Yeah, and so it's not even close to dog.
And of course, that became in the chat, and a few people on Twitter have said, "I can't believe Piper fucks dogs."
How did I become the normal one here?
Stick around, buddy. You'll look positively. You'll look positively professional by the time it's over with.
I was just trying to be my best bully, I didn't know it was gonna take off like that.
Let's see. If you watch chat, you have noticed earlier. She's a Lycanphile, I guess. That's what Mata called you. You're a Lycanphile.
Yeah, that sounds like a good word.
I would look that word up to see if it's a real word before you agree to something.
Shit.
What it means.
That's true.
Good point.
Am I gonna regret googling this? It's apparently not a word.
Okay, so it's a invented word. Okay, so you can define it right now, Piper.
Actually, wouldn't it be more like lycanthrophile?
I don't know.
That would be more appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least, Piper, I will say this: at least it gives hairy guys like me a chance,
right?
Because I might shave my head, but I am a walking rug. If I didn't shave for a week 2 weeks in a row, I would be Chewbacca.
That would be kind of the same way for me, except for directly on top of my head. Like I joked. What I say years ago. It was probably. In fact, I think it was like when I was 30. That was 10 years ago. Jesus. And I had a bald spot that was in the back of my, near the back, on top and everything. But on top of that, I also had a receding hairline. And,
oh no!
Yeah, and they started it was like Sherman's march towards the bald spot. It was the burning of Atlanta on top of my head. So I said, no more of this. I said the battle's over, and I went. I just started shaving it. I was like, I'm not gonna. I had this manager back when I worked for GameStop. There was this guy, one of the managers in the district named Tim, and he had this bad comb over. It looks terrible. He tried to comb. His hair looked terrible. It was 3 or 4 little strands that he tried to comb over to make it look like he had hair. You know?
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
I was like, no, dude, just you need to nuke that, man. Come on. And I said, I'm not going to become him.
Yeah, well, I'm in a really weird spot with mine. So my fucking head is really weird because I've got, you know how you've got those. Everybody has like those 3 lines at the top of your skull that kind of go across it in kind of a Y shape.
Yeah.
So those parts of my hair have thinned and are starting to bald.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I try to grow my hair out, it grows in 3 specific spots, and that's it. So I've tried like growing it out, and just what I constantly find myself doing is like every 2 weeks, because the rest of my hair grows out like crazy, like buzzing it off. But then it came to a point where I had like an undercut, and I'm like, man, I look like Chubby James Allsup, and I just shaved it all off again. I'm like, I'm not doing the undercut look. No.
I hear that.
The Hitler Youth, the Hitler Youth look is not for me. I'll go back to looking like Wilson Fisk's younger metalhead brother. Like that's the look that works for me.
It's like, you know, I went through a phase when I was younger. I was like, and you know, the bald spot started probably in my early 20s. So I had this thing. I was like, I was going to try to grow my hair out because I had a few friends that were trying to grow my hair out. I was like, I'm going to grow my hair out. And then I started thinking about it. I says, if I do this, I'm going to look like Hulk Hogan. You know, with just the baldness on top and like, you know, that, you know, long, you know, kind of long hair in the back. I said, I'm not going to brother do
Do
Jack.
it.
I got to
Do it.
Got to get rid of this.
Do it.
What are you talking about? Do it. I'm not doing that.
Do it. Should have done it.
I tried growing my hair out once to see how it would look on me, and eventually got to the point where like the hair in my back, until it gets like long enough that you could actually tie it into something, it just naturally curls up. Once it gets so long, it's like, that looks really fucking stupid.
So you would have to like you would have to be like doing straighteners and all that stuff, trying to make it look
until
good.
it got long enough that I could actually tie it. And then I remember this very clearly because hair in the front was like the longest it ever been. You know, bangs came down to my chin. You know, I'm a fucking edgy teen working at a 7-Eleven. I'm like, yeah, whatever, just constantly brushing hair out of my face because I don't do anything with it. You know, just whatever. 7-Eleven is next to a fucking music venue. They book a lot of emo shows at the time.
Oh no!
Fucking emo kids come over. You know, they're constantly, you know, demanding free water cups, spending $30 on energy drinks, and one of them looks at me and says, "Hey, I like your bangs." I'm going on break. I'll take these scissors with me. Cut them sons of bitches off right then.
Aww.
Go to the bathroom, try to even myself out, you know, before break is over to come back and, you know, fucking face these monsters.
Yeah.
Oh,
that kind of reminds me of like my last interaction with like an actual emo dude was, and I say dude because this was a grown man. So, I live near the city of Champaign in Illinois, which is where the University of Illinois is, and I have a friend who lived there for a number of years. She was my drinking buddy, and it was always a fun sight because she was as I've always called her, I call her my stripper friend because she used to be a stripper, and I just like, but her and I would always go to the same dive bar and just like drink for a while and then go home and pass out, and I just remember, but the bar also had a concert venue like on the floor above it. So, which I thought was a really weird positioning. So, her and I are sitting there, we're drinking, and we're getting ready to take off to go to get some food. And so I just down the shot of Seagrams I had in front of me. So her and I walk outside. Let me paint the picture. So here I am, you know, buzz cut, long ass beard, like chin hair that I have. And she is this, you know, she's obviously, like, she was a stripper. She's pretty good looking, but she's tattooed all over. I didn't have tattoos, but I still look mean as hell because I'm wearing it was a Megadeth t-shirt, I think.
Oh yeah.
And I got a leather jacket on and torn jeans and all this other shit. I look like something out of like an 80s, you know, metal band. And then she's standing next to me. She's wearing a torn up denim jacket and jeans, and she's wearing a Misfits shirt. So this fucking dude who's like in the emo band that's gonna be playing upstairs comes and tries to convince us to come into the show, and she's being nicer than I am because she was the social butterfly. And she's like, okay, well, how would you describe your music? And he's like, well, it kind of pulls from a little bit of like the Cure and the Smiths, but we've got elements of bluegrass in there and stuff like that. And he's wearing like a My Chemical Romance t-shirt and has like the emo coif, you know, that look.
Yeah.
And I just go, I'm looking at him like he's an idiot, like he doesn't know who he's talking to.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I want you to think about this for a second, buddy. I'm wearing the shirt of a band who, I can't think of the nastiest Megadeth lyrics off the top of my head, but I quoted them at the time. But I'm thinking like the lady next to me, she's wearing a shirt with a band who has the lyrics to what my favorite song by them is, I've got something to say, I raped your mother today. We're not really into the emo thing.
Wow.
So
what the fuck?
Yeah. So we walked off and we did exactly that. But in all seriousness though, I was just like, I didn't even think, I looked at her dead in the eyes. I'm like, Jess, I didn't even know emo still existed. What the fuck was he thinking?
Yeah, that was the biggest shock of the night. It's like, emo's still around? What?
Yeah, I thought they all evolved into hipsters and
started.
That's what I figured.
And started writing for
kids.
Vox.
I guess that was the bluegrass element. I don't freaking know.
the indie scene of the emos. God.
He was so nonconformist, he wasn't going to conform with the other emos and turn into a hipster.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was just like one of the dumbest experiences. The other one was I thought of with emo guys.
The what, Mike?
Huh?
What'd you say, Mike?
The emus.
Oh, God damn it.
Anyway. So,
ignore the native.
No, the dumbest thing that I ever saw, though, just like with an emo-looking dude, was I went to this concert, and if there's any metalheads in the chat, you'll know who I'm talking about. It's a hell of a lineup, looking back on it. It's the Black Dahlia Murder, Skeleton Witch, with their old lead singer, not their current one, and we'll get to him in a second. Who else was there? Another band called Fallujah, and then the opening act was a band called Wolfhammer. Now, from the bottom, you have technical death metal, a band that's basically like a death metal band mixed with Iron Maiden, and then melodic death metal. And then the opening band is a sludge band who plays super slow atmospheric shit that don't know how to turn up their goddamn microphones.
Oh,
and this dude looked like he weighed about $130 soaking wet with the emo coif and hipster goatee trying to do metal. And he's like slowly dancing around like he's like being like he's being a freaking whatchamacallit, like interpretive dance while he's trying to metal growl. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he it's like, so after one song, me and my buddy Josh are just staring at him, and he and I have been metalheads like since we were like kicking in the womb, and we're both looking at this guy in awe of like, how did he get in the building?
Do you think this is like a middle school prom?
It's like, is this one of the groupies' younger brother who asked to tag along?
Okay, everyone, get a dance partner. It's about to get slow.
Yeah, it's like, I expected him to say something like that. I was just looking at him like, whose dick did you suck to get in this building?
Probably not far from the truth.
Probably
right?
Not. But what happens next is he looks at the crowd who is like wondering what that band is even doing there, and he goes, man, you guys are depressing. Fucking what?
Never insult the crowd, even if you're sucking.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's like, buddy, NyQuil would be an improvement on the pace of your show. Shut up.
Damn.
And then, but here's what gets worse. So I mentioned Skeleton Witch, right? Mm-hmm. So their old lead singer Chance was an alcoholic, and a bad one, but very talented metal vocalist, but just bad alcoholic. He went through some personal issues. They kicked him out of the band. Now he is apparently going to church and is a Trump supporter now. Which I find hilarious. because it's like you listen to Skeleton Witch, it's all about like murder and Satan and all this other cool stuff. So, but I say that as a Christian with a Davis Volt tattoo on his arm.
Mhm.
But the Wolfhammer dude, the pansy, becomes the next lead singer of Skeleton Witch. And I hear that, and I go, I have to slide back a little bit because I went, no! So, yeah, Skeleton Witch's next album sucked so hard.
Wow.
It was so bad. And I'm like, I remember when they were awesome.
It's like, those were the days. 6 months ago.
It's like all those moments lost like tears in rain. R.I.P. Rutger Hauer. Fucking hell. Anyway, back to my comic.
Well, we do have a request in the chat. It says, have Micah tell bouncer stories.
Oh God. Where to be?
Oh,
So I will say this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're ever going to get in a fist fight and you are wearing a 3-piece suit, ditch your tie immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Just a survival bit, because they will yank on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. So bouncer stories. Let me try to think of one that's... I got a funny one, because there's some that are just sad. Because bouncing sucks, man.
Yeah.
But
You can see people at their best and absolutely always at their worst.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So... The funniest one that I ever saw was basically somebody who's seen Roadhouse one too many times.
Oh, okay.
So, and I say this as the guy bouncing.
You're saying he was too stupid to have a good time?
She actually.
Oh.
Oh no.
So here's what happens. I am doing my security rounds. I'm just kind of walking around and making sure everything's all right. And then I get what I call the look from the manager of the bar. Her name is Morgan. And it really didn't help that her name was Morgan and she looked almost exact like a thicker version of my ex-girlfriend Morgan. So that was a trip. But so it was kind of hard to keep eye contact. But regardless, Morgan would give me the look. And the look meant, Micah, get your ass up here, somebody's in trouble. So she gives me the look as I'm walking by. And I'm like, oh God, what's going on now? And I see this drunken woman take an empty beer bottle and try to smash it over the bar. Now, the thing is that only works in movies, unless you are ridiculously strong.
Right. So
So she hits it against the bar. She's so drunk she can't even hold it tight. And it ricochets off the bar and hits her right in the face.
Shit.
yeah.
It gets weirder because I go over there and I talk to the bartender. I'm like, what's going on here? And the lady is just like incensed next to me. And I look at her and I go, shut up. And she just kind of eyeballs me and looks away for a little bit and complains to the person next to her. And I go, what happened here? And she's like, I don't even know that. She's just kind of giving me the hand signal of like, this bitch is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I look to the guy to the left who she points to me as like the victim of all this. And he's like, I don't even know what I did. And I said, it's like, hey, don't worry about it. I'm like, don't worry about the tab. We'll get it. We'll take care of part of it because of the inconvenience. And I'm basically talking to him to kind of get him to calm down. It's like, and get him to go to his room.
Yeah.
And basically I said, if you want the cops to take her away, please do. Just call us down here at the desk. I'll call the police and I'll get her out of here. And while I'm trying to talk to him, trying to get him to leave the bar, and I'm standing in between the two of them, which I am the size of a door anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So she can't see past me. And she starts yelling at me. I turn around to her. I'm like, woman, sit the fuck down and just shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
The whole bar goes quiet. And she sits the fuck down. But here's what started all of this bullshit. He burped. And apparently before I got up there, she was prodding this man in the balls with the beer bottle.
Jesus.
And I'm like, woman, are you serious? And I gave her a mouthful when I sent her up to her room like I was her father.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you're fucking lucky that he doesn't call the cops and all this other shit. And I'm like, if it was up to me, I would toss your ass out of here, but I try to be a gentleman. So, yeah.
That's that reminded me.
Lord, I'm worried about the beaver.
I'll tell I got a couple. You reminded me of a couple of stories. One involved my father and one involved my grandfather. These are both hilarious stories. But I'm gonna tell them real quick. Some of our viewers have heard this one before. When my dad was younger and, as he said, mean. My dad's 6'5", 250, right? So he's not a small man.
Mm-hmm.
And goes to a bar one night, and he's just chilling. He said, I'm just here to have a good time. He was there with his friend, He said, and all of a sudden, this girl comes up to him, wants to dance. He's like, well, fine. Well, it turns out that she was trying to make her boyfriend jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah, and we're talking about a manlet.
Oh, my word.
Yeah. And so he gets pissed off, grabs my dad from behind, and attempts to punch him in the face. Of course, he had to kind of jump a little bit to do it.
So after Tim Doyle did this, what happened next?
Doyle did this. So it was literally, you've seen those movies, and I know my dad well enough to know this is true, right?
It was a little late, but yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, I know my dad was well enough to know this is true, that it was literally like in the movies, where things he said it felt like slow-mo. And then he looks at him, and the guy realized he just made the biggest mistake in his life.
Yeah.
And
this is what they call ultra instinct.
And my dad picked him up and just threw him across like a couple of tables and stuff. And then his friends tried to get involved, and my dad's just going wild. He's wilding out at this point, right? He just don't give a shit. Adrenaline's pumping and everything. Turns out there was a bouncer there, and this guy, he wasn't a small man. He's like good 320 pounds, and he had a blackjack on him. He hit my dad in the back of the head with blackjack. My dad looked at him and said, "You're next." And that guy, he said the guy dropped the blackjack. He never saw him again until later. So after that, the everybody calmed down a little bit, and realized what was happening. And the girls trying to make the guy jealous. Everybody chilled. Everybody everybody bought drinks, because it's an old school country fight, right?
Oh yeah.
He said later on he's just hanging out in the parking lot with his friend, and the bouncer comes up to him, and he said, "I just want to shake your hand." He said, "Why is that? Why do you want to shake my hand? You hit me with the thing."
Right?
He said, "Because you just saved me a lifetime of worrying about this bullshit because I just quit this job." He said, "Why is that?" He said, "I ain't never hit a man with this thing, and he just looks at me like I'm crazy." And he said, and I knew right then that I was done.
Yeah, that.
And
yeah, that was one of those things where, like, I had one conversation with the guy. The coolest part of it is the fact I got to escort the band Boston into the building once. That was awesome.
Nice.
And it's one of my dad's favorite bands, and they tipped very well. I will say that for escorting them, they tipped me. Like, that's awesome. But I can't remember the name of the football player, but there was a guy who was in the NFL who, oddly enough, was marrying the daughter of a friend of my mentor in college. So that was weird, but because I met him later. But the dude was, the night before, kind of being an asshole to people, to the point where he was making one of the bartenders very uncomfortable with kind of he was being rude. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
And so I go over to this guy because the bartender the girls working the bar look very uncomfortable serving him because he's huge. He's about like you described your dad. Like, he's a huge dude. Well, I'm not that much smaller than him. Maybe a few inches shorter, but I've got the same kind of bulk on me.
Yeah.
So and the difference between me and a football player is I know how to punch people.
Right.
So I'm looking at this dude and I'm sizing him up. I'm like, so how many teeth am I willing to lose if this guy really gets out of it? Because oddly, and I've actually lost a few work, and that's why my teeth are fake. But and I'll get to that story later. But so this dude, I just look at him and I'm like, sir, is there a problem? He goes, is there gonna be? And I'm like, cute. I'm like, look, I really don't want to have to, go through you suing me for millions of dollars after I rearrange your jaw. All I'm going to ask you to do is just please start treating the waitresses with respect. And then he kind of shoots me this look of, I have never had anybody talk to me like that before. Because I don't think he had ever had somebody like not scared of him. I'm just like, I had been through so many goddamn fights at that job at that point that I was just kind of like, I was kind of done with it. I'm like, look, at this point, I'm just waiting for this company to just finally give up and pay all my fucking medical bills.
Right.
Because this is bullshit. So, but what was funny, well, the funniest part about it is that his soon-to-be wife is sitting next to him, and she smacks him in the chest and goes, I told you that you were being rude and you didn't listen to me. And he shoots this look of suddenly he was just whipped. He's like, baby, don't hit me like that. And I'm like, did I just watch a football player act like he's like the fat guy in a blaxploitation movie?
Wow.
And I'm like, just be nice to people, man. That's all we ask. It's like, and I'm like, don't forget the tip. So yeah, don't ever, especially in a hotel, don't ever be the security unless you have backup. And I did not.
So, let me tell my grandfather's story real quick. So this is when I had to hear about it, obviously, because I wasn't there. Because this is when my dad was a kid. But my grandpa was a mean drunk.
Oh.
But usually it wouldn't bother, if you didn't bother him, he wouldn't bother you, right? And so they were down at this little store it used to be down the road from where us. They called it the Honey Hole. You can take from that what you want. And they were hanging around, having drinks and stuff like that. They had, it was like a kind of general store kind of thing. You get, soda, all that kind of stuff. And so my dad was like, he said, I'm sitting on the bench, drinking a Coca-Cola. He said, Daddy's over here, having a, drinking whatever, whatever, it was 5 o'clock somewhere kind of thing. And then there was this guy, he said, he called his name, but anyway, it was another example of a smaller guy. And my grandpa was, about the same size as my dad, 6'4", 6'5". He comes up now, Micah, since you've been through fights, let me ask you this. Would you rather a man punch you or slap you?
Slap me, honestly.
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as like, damage and stuff, yeah. But I think that offended my grandfather.
Yeah, it's more of an offensive thing than it is like pain thing.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to get into it, you might as well get slapped because at least it's not going to damage you as much. But
yeah.
So the guy rolled up on my grandpa and slapped him in the face. And my dad said he reared back, hit the guy so, and this store is probably like in the front. It's probably like 8x10 with a screen door, right?
Yeah.
He said my grandpa hit him so hard that the dude rolled out through the screen door and there was like 2 little gas pumps, and he was between the gas pumps when when he finally stopped, and his car was like right next to the gas pumps, and then as my grandpa was coming out, and like 5 guys were trying to hold him back, saying, "I'm gonna kill that son of a bitch." and the owner of the store looked at the guy, and he said, "Get in your car and get the hell out of here." And he said to this day he has no idea why that guy like rolled up on him like that. It made no sense because I mean he was a drunk, but he didn't like run around or anything. He didn't like mess with women or nothing like that. It was just he just drank. So I don't know if he offended him at work or something like that. But
whatever you do, don't slap him. It's a street fight, dude. Anything goes. Yeah, but he might take it personally.
Well, that reminds me. This is a brief story. There was a wrestler named Hercules Hernandez. And he was not a small man. He was a very big man.
No, he was not. I know this story, yeah.
Yeah, where it was from Jim Cornette told this story. It was great. And this fan, I think, was it the fan tried to run up on him or something like that? And
yeah, because this was back when like kayfabe was all real to people.
Yeah, so people thought, I'm going to get the heel before they go mess up my friend, my friend, the face, who the face has no idea who you are either, dude. But so he rolls up on Herc, and Herc open hand slaps him and knocks him out. Like, I mean, Cornette described it was like a sack of potatoes, out. And then Herc went, Herc went and did his match. I think it was like 10, 15 minutes, whatever. He comes back, the guy's still knocked out. And so, Cornette asked him, he said, "Herc, I was just going to ask you, why didn't you punch him? Why did you just slap him?" He said, "I didn't want to hurt him, Jimmy." What is it with short men starting fights? Ask Tim Doyle.
It's small. It's little dog syndrome. Yeah, ask him.
Yeah.
And it's Napoleon complex. It's
Yeah.
a real thing.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, man, like all the times I got people who came up to me and started shit, it was always short dudes. Always.
I had the same problem, dude. Like, 7th grade, I had this kid who wanted to roll up on me, and he kept teasing, he kept trying, egging me, trying to think he was gonna do something like that. I'm gonna do, I'm gonna fuck you up, blah blah blah, And like I said, he was a good foot shorter than me. I'm not kidding, like a good foot shorter. And one day he made the biggest mistake of his life and punched me in the face, which was really a mosquito bite. It was like nothing, right? But it was enough to incense me. And I took I grabbed him by his scrawny little neck and pinned him against the brick wall. And he was like, how, you seen the cartoons where, the feet are like, let me go. Yeah, he was doing that. And I said, if you ever do that to me again, you won't walk away next time. And I just dropped him. And he never, after that, he wanted to become my best friend. Like he wanted to hang out and stuff like that. And I was like, I ain't protecting you. Get the hell away from me.
Yeah, exactly. That's you. Yeah, you put in the bullied kid fights back. That was basically me when I was like 10.
Mm-hmm.
There was one kid who just kept picking at me and picking at me. I didn't know how to fight at the time, so I just knew how to throw things.
Yeah.
And I just picked him up and threw him.
Yeah.
It's like what?
You remember you remember the Zangief kid, that little meme that went around for a while?
Oh yeah.
That was a great. You ever seen that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this guy, this little short munchkin kept punching this bigger kid. And he was doing that because he probably the kid was probably like passive most of the time. Didn't want to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so he kept punching him and like punching him, and you could tell it wasn't hurting the kid. He was just like kind of like leave me alone. He would swat at him a little like leave me alone. And then finally he just grabs him. And the reason they call him Zangief Kid is because he did it and kind of spun him around a little bit and then dropped him right on his head.
Yup.
And the kid got up. He was walking with a limp. He couldn't hardly move. And then he tried to play the victim.
That was great. The fact he was always bullying me, that's not fair that everyone's being mean to me on the internet. Well, if things were different, would you do everything you did all over again? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no.
Yeah. Well, and that's the one thing about being a bully to people is like I hate to quote the prequels, but there's always a bigger fish.
Yeah.
And I just ran into that all the time. Maybe that's why I got such a bad chip on my shoulder. Why I just don't like drama. It just reminds me of those old days. It's like, please do not make me do this to you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem with authority, which comes from being bullied as a kid, where you'll be bullied out in the open, in public, very loudly, very broadly, and authority will do nothing. As soon as you cold cock a motherfucker so bad that he ain't ever gonna fuck with you again, all of a sudden authority wants to get involved.
Right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. That happened to me all.
Yeah.
Like, I got called into the principal's office my junior year of high school, and he goes because he was also at one point my wrestling coach.
Yeah.
And he goes, Micah, I don't know you to be the type of person to pick fights. I'm like, that's because I'm not. But I told him, I'm like, but sir, I am sure as shit gonna end them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's like, don't curse in my office. So yeah, that was my childhood in a nutshell.
Yeah, my
so,
pops always
told me, not a big fan of bullies, man.
Yeah, same
ever.
here. My pops always told me never start a fight, don't pick on nobody, because it ain't no need for it. Be a good person, kind of thing, be a good Christian, yada yada.
Yeah.
But he said, but I'm gonna tell you, son, and this is how he put it. If somebody starts something with you, you better put them down, because if I found out you lost the fight, you're gonna have to deal with me. That was enough to scare me to fight like hell.
If you're in a position where you gotta whip some ass, you need to whip some ass.
Yeah, like my best friend Michael. He had his little brother. His brother's like 10 years younger than him, so he's like kind of like he got to the point when he got to like 14, 15, he wanted to try to square. And
yeah,
and our friend, he's kind of built like you, Micah. Kind of broad shouldered, big boy. Not going to take shit. And he said, "All right, fine." He said, "Son, let me tell you something." He said, "All right, you want to do this? All right, we'll go outside. We're gonna roll around the dirt a little bit. After I win, how do you know you're gonna win, son? After I win, We'll have a discussion about this. He never squared up.
Oh yeah, they never do, man. They never do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kid brother Potato. He had problems with bullies in elementary school.
I like how you call your
kids
brother
want to
Potato.
start. Well, he kept getting in fights with these kids that want to throw down, but kids don't want to fight, like real throw hands anymore. It's all let's roll around on the ground and be as gay as possible, try and get on top of each other. Which, grappling is part of fighting, just not the way they do it.
Yeah.
No.
And what they don't understand is they want to grapple with my brother. We taught him fucking elbow and knee strikes. They had a very bad day, and they stopped bullying him after that.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
That was one of those
Everyone's
things.
gangsta until they start grabbing get a knee straight to the balls.
Yeah. And this will be my last story before we go back to the comic stuff.
Yeah,
but,
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, see, the college I went to, we did like submission grappling. We called it Bring It. And the problem with me, and I'll freely admit this, or at the time, college ain't that different than high school, especially if you're at a religious school like I was.
Mm-hmm.
It really felt like high school 2.0. The difference is you can sleep in. And there were, of course, jocks there. Now, nobody at our school was that good of an athlete. Mm-hmm. It was usually nonsense. And there were a few of us in the school that knew some fist fighting. I had been learning boxing while I was there from a buddy of mine, and then learned a bit of Muay Thai, knew how to throw knees and stuff like that. But the problem with it is that when you're in those situations and you don't know how to shut that off, you're going to hit somebody and you're not going to realize you did it. Fast forward to the end of the school year, we're doing one. It's my roommate, Tony, and this other guy that we know, and as a friend of ours named Rob, but Rob liked to bully people sometimes just for kicks. He was a bit of a troll. And so they start wrestling, and it comes to a point where Tony gets back to his feet, and Rob shoots on him, and Tony, just not thinking about it, knees him right in the face.
Oof.
Almost broke his eye socket.
Ooh,
and
damn.
I said to myself, I'm like, yeah, I'm never doing one of these. So
yeah, eventually instinct kind of takes over and you don't even think about it. And
yeah, all right, we got to get back to this because I got to take off.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
I have to sleep. I promised myself I would sleep.
Oh yeah, we'll let you get to sleep because we'd like to watch Nick Rekieta, so we just try to roll him over. So we got the the range finding jab, which is a $20, 2 physical copies. Obviously we know the page count by now. We've said it enough. If you don't know the page count by now, you can look at it in the campaign. So 2. So that's 2. The hook, physical copy with the director's cut, and digital copy. So making sure. So Rage Finder is just 2 physical copies. Range finding. So, and the hook is physical copy, director's cut, plus digital copy. And so that's $20 for that. And there's you were talking about the pinup. I know you wanted to get to that. So here's
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm. The exclusive pinup poster featuring Angelica, one of Elijah's star pupils. Oh, and you get the physical copy of Englewood comic, all 36 pages of the prequel and issue 1.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get through the rest of these, and then we'll show the audience pinup as a, because I think that's going to be one people are going to dig.
Oh yeah. So we got the cross. That's $35. An exclusive T-shirt featuring Elijah Wallace, plus a physical copy of Englewood with all 36 pages. And that's you call it the Born in Blood. Have you got a? Oh yeah, you do. You got a picture of that on the campaign, like down here.
Yeah, if you go to the updates.
Okay.
Go ahead and read through them real quick, and then we'll show off the swag.
Yeah.
But
absolutely,
because both of them are in the updates.
Okay, we got the uppercut, exclusive pinup poster featuring Angelica. You get dress cop, many things. Look at this one. So this is make sure I'm getting this right. So that's $35 for that. And that's director's cut with that one. The cross counter. Get director's cut and the Born in Blood shirt. And the Windy City special. This is the moneymaker right here. This is the one that that's everything pretty much.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you want to support the tier, this is the tier to support right here. You know,
Amen to that. Yeah.
Macho Man, appreciate that. The best of everything, you get Englewood Director's Cut, the digital copy, the T-shirt, the pinup poster, and just for good measure, we'll even send you a special thank you note.
Yep.
Very nice. And here's the pinup. That is a very sexy pinup.
Yeah. See, the artist that I got to do this, oddly enough, is not working on anything.
Oh wow.
And he's one of my patrons, oddly enough. He just posts his art link in the if you scroll down a little bit, people see how detailed it is.
Yeah.
He just posts his DeviantArt in the freaking chat, and I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, how are you not working on something?
Yeah, can we get that contact info?
What a party with this guy.
But yeah, it's like I saw him, and when he first showed this to me, I'm like, Jesus Christ, man! You can see her abs, obviously. And it's like you can even see the line of her hip bone. Like, holy shit!
Yeah.
You mean the horny bone?
Yeah, the horny lines.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Vagina bone.
Nintendo said they were a myth.
That's very detailed. I mean, you can see kind of looks like she's been sweating. You know.
Yep.
It almost looks like a photo.
Yeah. I was gonna say if you didn't know any better.
Yeah.
That looks really good. Okay, so to the updates. That's gonna have.
Yes, and the second update has the shirt print on it.
Okay. I want to get a good picture for everybody here.
Well, and the big thing with her is I said to myself, so we got John Malin and everybody else focusing on boobs. So why don't I get put a pin up where it's she's got wide hips instead. So there you go.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it ain't like
we
she's
could
lacking,
use some of that.
She ain't lacking at the top neither. So it's like she's good.
Yeah.
All yeah, she's good.
Well, people who are fans of mine in the channel know that I have a type. So, and I am an ass man. Just I will freely admit it. So,
man of culture.
Exactly.
So this is what's going on the shirt.
Yes.
That looks really good. I just like the composition of the born in blood, and it makes out to be his face. That's.
Yep. See, oddly enough, the tagline I thought of, Hatman being Hatman, he suggested the worst tagline. Hatman, I love you, but the worst tagline for this campaign. The Saints go marching in. I'm like, no. It's like, I don't know if you guys remember 5-second films, but the planking one where he kicks him in the junk and goes, no.
Yeah. Hatman is a failure at life.
Yes. So I'm like, that was my reaction. Just no. And then I'm like, wait. Tagline: a hero is born in blood. And then everybody's like, damn. I'm like, look who you're talking to.
Right. You're right. Yeah.
It's almost like I'm a writer or something.
Yeah, it's like it's like I come up with good ideas for. But yeah, I like the composition of that, for that shirt. I really do.
Yeah.
Because you don't see much like that. It's not just like it's you see his face in the thing. It is the face is the the print pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
The only criticism I would have is just more of the typeface, where I feel like there should be like some sort of other colored outline to make the lettering stand out a little bit more. Because the middle line, I almost didn't make out that in.
That's true. Yeah, that's the problem with using the word "in" as you're kind of your middle. So
you had to stretch that out, like.
Yeah.
But we've test printed it, and it does look. Good. So
all right, as long as it looks good on the final product, that's all that matters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
I agree. That's really nice. Yeah. And let's mention the art contest, which you extended correctly.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah.
So it was it's interesting because we got about 6 or 7 different submissions that we're going to be putting together.
Oh shit! Sorry.
We're trying to wrap this
My
up.
bad.
You're
tell Joestar I'm not Japanese. He doesn't have to.
Did you Banisher to the show.
But
yeah.
I bet
but in all
it's
seriousness, though, yep, we had about 6, 7, maybe more than that people enter it, but we've also gotten like submissions, like people who want to be put in it that are professionals.
Right.
Like Vinny Tartamella did a quick sketch of Elijah that we're gonna put in there, and then Canales, Canales, who did Iron Sights, he's working on a book with one of my fans, goes by the name Artemis Vale on Twitter, and he submits fan art, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I'm like, all right, let's extend this a bit. Let's give some people some more time to do this, so that we've got, because basically it was going to be like, we only had like really 5 actual fans who submitted. So I'm like, but I knew that there were other people who were putting stuff in and needed a little bit more time. So I'm like, yeah, let's give it a few more days. Let them do color work and stuff like that, and really turn in something really cool. So
yeah, that's like I said, if it starts off like, well, we only got this many, we'll just do what we got, and then you're like, all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, what's going on? So
yeah, we got another month. Why not? You know?
Yeah, might as well. I mean, you're not going to print tomorrow, so it's
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of Canales, man, like from his work in Iron Sights to what he's doing now, he's made huge improvements. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying his art style is great. I'm not saying it isn't, but you could see the improve because Mike Murphy's The Abductables, because Canales did the work on that.
Yeah,
so good. It's gotten so much better, and he improves every time. And the guy, from what Mike Murphy told me, he works like to the bone. So he's like, all right, hey, you want to do this? Yes. What about this? Okay. Like, do you have time for that?
Yeah, that sounds about right from what I've been told. He's like, from what he's been described to me, he's like, he's kind of a mercenary in a sense. Like, you give him $5.
Yeah, I'll draw it. Hell. So we got Englewood, issue 1. A Hero is Born in Blood, and I'm gonna refresh this, see if you made any money. I can't tell. I didn't look at the total because I'm an idiot. I didn't look at the total beforehand. But anyway, like I said, you're still like you said, you're at the 80% mark. Going on, and this is flexible. So is this a situation that if it didn't hit goal, you would still print what you could to your backers?
We'd still print, but we'd probably consider extending it. One thing that admittedly has been all of the Comicsgate drama going on lately.
Yeah.
Because people are more focused on that bullshit than comics, and I'm like, fuck me. But that was something that a lot of us have said, like in our videos and live streams lately. It's like, I get that some people are upset, but you're fucking with our business here. For some of us are trying to get into this industry. For some of us who, would like, time could have been spent promoting creators and people who want to get into the industry. And that's not just me. Like that's because I've made as much, I think, as George has on Mary Sue.
Yeah.
And Vinny Tartamella, I think, has made about as much as I have, and their goals were lower than mine because I have to pay people. So so with me, I'm just sort of like we could be doing so much better than we are right now if we're focused on actual comics instead of all this bullshit. It's like, come on, guys, like let's get back to focusing.
Well, it's like I said, and people, like, I have the opinion, people said, is it consumer or is it creator? I said both.
It's a mathematician's answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is both. I said, because guess what? Consumers can't buy anything if there are no creators.
Bingo.
And if you can find creators that go along with you, that is like, we will absolutely make the stuff you want us to make, I call that a win. And you have, and Micah, you understand, as a creator, I've seen you on your streams, you communicate with your fans.
Oh yeah. I am not the type of person to leave people high and dry.
Yeah, it's like, you communicate. It's like, you have any questions? You have any criticisms? You think I look good in this dress? Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's all about interaction.
Very pretty lady.
Yeah, it's all about interaction. And yes, you are, to agree, yes, you are beholden to your customers. I understand that. Yeah, but your beholding is to deliver quality work, right?
Exactly.
You're beholden. My opinion. This is just me. You're not beholding to carry their water.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Is like the big thing that I always tell people is like, look, I probably have different political opinions than some people. I probably have different this and or that. You know, I don't care. Like that has nothing to do with what I'm trying to sell you. So if you don't want the political stuff, just don't watch my podcast. I'm not going to hold it against you. Just buy the book.
Yeah.
Because the book is awesome.
Yep.
I believe in it.
My pops.
Yeah!
Thank you, Piper. My pops, this is a good final thought. My pops always had a saying. They would ask him, would you know how bigots are. They'll ask you straight up because they're bigots, right? Or you would really sell to this? You would say, yes. Why? Their money is green.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really care.
Yeah,
that's
the color I care about is money. I want everybody to love my work. I want, I said this the other night. I said, when we eventually do our comic, they said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I want to beat Cyberfrog. And they're like, look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, why not? I mean, exactly. I was like, why can't I say that? I was like, yes, Ethan Van Sciver is a very talented artist. I think Cyberfrog is, going to be a huge, it is a huge success. And I think it's just going to build from there. But why can't I also have that pie? Why can't Micah Curtis have that pie?
Exactly.
I mean, why am I going to limit myself when the potential is there? That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
That's
at the end of the day, if somebody is in this is trying to say that they're not, or that they wouldn't like to have made a living off of doing this, they're lying to you.
Right.
Because if I could sit at home and write comic books all day, I'd do it. I'm just not there yet. But I want to be there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, if it's a dream, pursue it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I want to earn it. That's the big thing. Like, I don't want to just have it gifted to me. I want people to read this and, really dig it. I think that the one thing about Englewood that's kind of the challenge. Mm-hmm. And don't think that I don't love this book, because I love this book and I'm very proud of what I've done with it. I mean, I haven't had a bunch of people read the script yet, but the people who are working with me, Hatman, Armand, and Brian. I'm terrible with names when I'm tired.
That's fine.
Every single one of them, their reaction to the script after they read it was, "Holy shit!"
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's the reaction I want. So I have a feeling that, do I think that Englewood will make 30, 40, 50,000 like some of my buddies like Cal Jameson did with Shinobi Sasquatch or Von Klaus did with Monster MD? Probably not, because I'm doing a straight superhero story and they're doing stuff that's more kind of out there, which is what a lot of people in Comicsgate are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
For me, what this is I'm setting a stage. I'm laying a foundation of a comic that we can do for years and years and years, because people are going to read this and they're going to go, holy shit. And this is my confidence. They're going to go, Micah Curtis is the best writer in Comicsgate.
Yeah.
And they're going to spread this around. More people will buy it, and it'll just spiral out from there. Because no offense to any of the other guys, but I'm the type of guy who writes the type of comics that has something for everyone, and you don't forget them after they're done. That's the one thing that you want to do.
Story,
and if you can't do that,
yeah,
exactly. And when you finish, and this is kind of my sales pitch here, when you finish this first issue, when you are done reading it, the first thing you're going to want to do is tweet at me or email me and say, "So when's issue 2 come out?"
And that's the best endorsement, in my opinion.
Yep.
That is the absolute.
That's
best
what I want.
Yeah, it's like, when's the next thing? When it was coming out? I mean, what was it the other day? Zach, he made a video and he said, like, I want to make $1 million. By doing comics. I'm like, go for it. He has a right to do that. So do you. So do I. If we can make a go of it, why not?
Exactly.
And that's what gets me. And it's like I said, I loved our chat. I love the fans. And I mean, we've been through the whole. I think most of us here has been through the whole consumer advocate kind of deal. We know.
Oh yeah.
We know. We know there are times when creators or of anything, video games and stuff like that, they don't listen to their fans. Yes, you have to speak up. The fans say, no, we don't want this. But guess what? When it gets to the point when Marvel and DC, those big boys, don't care what you say and will still deliver you drivel, it's time to walk away. It's not about, the move the needle was a great idea. It just wasn't going to work because they didn't care. Because guess what? They got paid already.
Yeah, exactly. And legitimately, they did not care what fans thought. And as such, they're just not going to respond in a way that makes you think that they ever will.
Mm-hmm. Like this whole we need to change the industry. Yeah, we are. And this is how you do it. Oh yeah.
It's like I've done in my most recent vids. So it's just,
mm-hmm.
How you go about it is very simple. If you are in it, everybody participates, and this is like economics with Micah.
Yeah.
Everybody participates in markets. And actually, before I get into this, it's actually kind of nice to go from bar stories to me referencing the fact that I've had sex with a stripper and then now talking about economics. But yeah, I'm a whore. But no, in all seriousness, it's we all participate in the market here. And as such, the ways that people get into markets are, it seems to go in phases. Is the first thing you do is you gripe about what you just got. You say, okay, this doesn't work out. This was terrible, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then if that doesn't work, if they don't listen to you, you leave that part of the market and then you vote with your wallet. And if that doesn't work, if that's not having enough of an effect, they don't care. That's when you enter the market and you start competing yourself. If you have enough of an ego, I guess,
mm-hmm.
to say, I can do this. I can do this better than you, asshole.
Mm-hmm. And
that's basically where we're at, and that's going to be the only way you affect change. Because let's face it, when Spawn #1 came out,
I was getting ready to say that. Yep.
It changed the industry,
mm-hmm.
And you talk to any of us Comicsgate creators, man, we all love Todd McFarlane. Well, Vinny Tartamello worked, but so he's got more of a reason to love him than the rest of us.
Right.
But we all admire Todd for that, and I'm curious to see if Cyberfrog is the next Spawn #1.
Mm-hmm.
If that's because it did make close to 1 million.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see where it goes from here. But I think that this is going to have new talent has to come into this industry that actually gives a damn about the industry.
I've always said that just because you've never heard of somebody doesn't mean they're good, right?
Exactly.
And most of the time, it's two ways to do it. Either they're given a chance or they take their chance, right? And somebody like you took the chance. You said you said, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make my own. I'm gonna supply the market. There's a market that's craving this, and that's what a lot of people don't quite get, but I think it'll come, start understanding. Like you said, Spawn changed the way things were. When those guys like, McFarlane and Jim Lee and all those guys broke off from Marvel, they were laughed at. You can't make that kind of money by yourself. Are you crazy?
Yep.
Nobody bet, don't bet against, I was just say, don't bet against Todd McFarlane.
No.
Because he proved everybody wrong. And that's,
I think to a kind of a small extent,
mm-hmm.
the market tends to respect those that, rather than wait for opportunity, just go and make the opportunity themselves, unless they make all the wrong fucking decisions.
Yep.
Yeah. If you do everything wrong, I mean, you're not going to succeed. But still,
Well, that's not always true because, say what you want about Tommy Wiseau, The Room eventually made a shit ton of money.
That's a good point, but
this is true.
Yeah, but none of us want.
They were going to let him make a movie, but so he just decided he was going to make a movie himself, and
none of us want to write The Room, though. So,
yeah. Well, Gabby Rivera kind of already beat us all to that anyway. So,
damn. That was cold-blooded.
Hey man, I reviewed American Chavez. That hurt.
We had, but like we used to do real quick. We used to do this show on Friday nights called Operation Retcon, where we would take some of these really crappy characters and try to make them good. And Cab was, he was on that show, and he literally said, "There's nothing I can do with this. I can't think of anything that would make this better." Yeah, the only thing you can ask Piper. The only thing we could come up with is just changing her entire origin.
Complete
Actually,
teardown.
Yeah,
Complete
completely.
teardown to make her something better. That was it.
You might want to bring me on for one of those.
I would love to, actually. Yeah.
I think I could do it. I think I could pull it off. I think I've got an idea.
We talked about bringing it back at some point.
Yeah, we ought to. Yeah, definitely. But let's clear it out for the night, because I know, like Micah said, he's tired. I know Piper, this is past her bedtime. So
Yeah, I'm sorry I have been quiet.
Oh, your soundboard has said more than enough.
Yeah, I've had a hell of a day, so the soundboard's been talking for me.
Well, just say thank you that I wasn't drinking tonight.
Oh, Lord.
I would be the biggest asshole ever.
Aw.
And you look at me, I'm too chubby to be farting these days. I got to drop a few pounds first.
I hear that. Same here. But, Micah, it was good having you on tonight, brother. Great conversations. And like I said, people, guys, check out Englewood. The link is in the description below. Please check it out. I think you're going to enjoy this. This is looking. I'm encouraged by this. I'm liking the story. I'm liking. This is a rags to riches to rags superhero story, pretty much. And
next payday, I'm going to back it.
There you go.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Got another backer right there. All right, folks. Like I said, we appreciate you. I have no idea what we're going to talk about tomorrow night. I'm sure something will come up. So y'all have a good one. We will. Oh, by the way, check out Micah's channel. Is it just Micah Curtis?
Yep, just search under my name, Micah Curtis.
Yeah, check out Micah Curtis, and on Twitter you're at the Mind of Micah C.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. All right, guys. You've heard all the shilling. So if you get a chance, check it out. Give us some comments if you come in later and all that good stuff. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a good one.
Bye-bye.